Rams nearly took down the Barbican, but that's exactly the moment that Leenock chooses to move out. And here those repeater crossbows going absolute ham, smashing those spears. Horsemen go in to close the distance as well and try to get some up close and personal shots on those longbows. The Shogunnu are firing away. This looks like an excellent fight for Leenock.
Yeah, I think Altai makes lots of sense. Also, English really good, right? It feels like you are playing on a smaller map on Altai. So that is something that English doesn't mind, simply because they lack mobility often, going longbowmen, going spearmen, not really cavalry civilization. So they don't mind just one-dimensional pushes through the center.
Yeah.
And that's why they're so strong on Altai. But Chinese can kind of say the same. And especially if he anticipated to play against English, once we get to Nest of Bees, even after nerfs, still lethal.
Still very lethal, and you can not pump them out as quickly anymore as before in like 10 seconds or so with 300 plus health, but they're still really, really good, definitely. And there are a number of advantages when it comes to Chinese on Altai. First of all, the deer can be manipulated to be really close to the mill, just like on Hill and Dale, which means you can do Imperial supervised deer gathering, which is some of the best food you can get on land. You can bring the scout back after you've completed your survey around the map, getting what sheep you can. You can start to kind of micro those deer into the mill. Secondly, Chinese can build buildings really fast. 100% faster on all buildings, but still 50% faster on military buildings such as walls and outposts. That means that Chinese, more than other civs, can quickly throw up walls in order to keep themselves safe from the expected longbowman aggression.
And yeah, longbowman aggression certainly is something that feels the very standard thing here. The big question is, how will Striker play in addition to that? We have seen different approaches when it comes to wheelbarrow early being squeezed in. We have sometimes seen people go for the early attack there, trying to maybe even go for early rams, because sometimes Barbican of the Sun is the defensive building. Also, just pulling everything away from gold and going full longbowmen, spearmen, just pumping out the numbers and really forcing the opponent into a lot of army, something we have often seen from English.
Exactly. And, you know, English wants to be aggressive. They have an economic advantage, but it doesn't work for itself. The economic advantage for English is cheaper farms. But you still have that initial investment you need to make. Imperial Official is also an investment. Then you've got a number of civs that have automatic economic advantage, such as Abbasid's Golden Age and Delhi's free upgrades. So English are always thinking, how am I going to bring down my opponent to my level in terms of the economy? They want to do a little bit of damage, either by forcing idle villagers, killing villagers, or forcing a military response. And you mentioned Wheelbarrow. Wheelbarrow in general is a very versatile and useful upgrade, but why would you get it early to slow down your aggression? Well, the answer there usually is because you're looking to resemble a level of aggression that people are used to. You want to make it look like that, but you want to squeeze in an economic concession that, while that makes you weaker for a minute or two, it's like a soft second town center, a soft expansion, an economic delay, an economic advantage that delays your military, but then you punch harder at, and I'm putting this out there kind of as a theoretical thing, you're pushing harder at 10 minutes. You've got a greater amount of units and available resources at 10 minutes instead, or at 11, even if you're weaker at 7. So that's kind of the theory behind that. Players will need to do a lot of testing in order to work out what is actually the best. And I feel like on this map, no economic concession into a military delay is worth it for English. I think they do want to bring in the actual numbers, do the actual aggression, just naked aggression without any concessions, and getting up an outpost early, I think, is usually the nuts for English. Behind this tree line that Leenock is currently exploiting, you want to put an outpost there, put a couple of villagers on stone, and make some arrow slits, and then take it from there. Once you've built up that buffer of aggression, you're going to fall back and do whatever. And how is Leenock going to solve that? We don't know yet.
Oh, keeps 2 villagers on gold and has the second Imperial Official, so won't be too far behind when it comes to gold. Already 210 wood as well. Barbican of the Sun at the bottom to block off all the food. And plays with the sneaky stable at the left-hand side. So we'll have a good answer against the early Longbowman. And right now, Striker, still no barracks. So Longbowman alone won't cut the chase.
Exactly. They won't get the job done. And yeah, I've experimented a lot with that early barracks. Some English players have shown make the barracks and make sure it coincides with the feudal age finishing. That you can squeeze out 2 spears and 3 bows, and that's about all you can do. Then you run out of wood. That barracks does slow down longbow production. You make that barracks, you get 2 spears and 3 to 4 bows. You don't make the barracks, you get insta bump to like 7 bowmen or so. But it doesn't look like Striker is actually doing that. He has a rather large investment still in gold gathering and food gathering, and not enough in wood. So he's made a few bows, and then he makes them idle in his base. So what are they there for? If he's not selling the notion that he's going to be aggressive, why make 3 bows at all? They produce so fast, and you've got so little wood, that you could pump out those bows at any time. And that just... I put a little question mark behind that, behind making 3 bows and then making them go idle. I don't think that's the optimal way of doing things.
Maybe wanted to go more aggressively, but his scout actually did a brilliant job of finding the stable in the back.
Yes.
So maybe there was more aggression planned, and then maybe the reverse gear there and felt like, okay, we have to take a different approach. And Spearman obviously not being used initially, but together with some Spearmen, they will certainly seek some aggression.
Yeah, I think you might be right, because he did hide that stable, and then it was indeed spotted. So you're very likely on the money with that.
Hey, now the question is, what are the next steps? And we see Imperial Academy at an interesting spot. Goes for an archer range with that as well. And typically Imperial Academy hugging the cliff. Not really what I like too much, in the sense that you're not really using the whole area. It's a bit like chess and having a knight at the edge of the field.
Yeah, and to a degree that's kind of true, but it does touch the lumber camp with the tip perfectly.
Ooh,
it does touch
just the tip.
Yeah, just the tip. The mill as well with the tip. And then the archery range and stables are covered as well. So it is actually going to generate a lot of passive gold available pickup sites. And more than that, this is a Chuganu Imperial Academy. And more than that, it's also a huge pressure on Striker, who not only has scouted the Imperial Academy, but he maintains a line of sight on it and can see whether there are going to be Chuganu. Additionally, we've got more villager production capabilities now for Lennox. So where Striker may have felt like he's got a bit of time to marshal his forces and make a preemptive spearman to protect his bows, we're now cranking out villagers. Lennox is like, French who? Lol. Because he's making villagers at 13 seconds during feudal, where a French player would be producing villagers at 17 seconds. He's got the villager production of Striker beat by 50% while having access to Chuganu. This is a crazy good setup for Lennox. He doesn't need any economy upgrades per se. Nonetheless, he is still getting those double broad access. His economy is insane. He's got wheelbarrow, broad access, and much faster villager production. If Striker doesn't shut this down in the next minute or so and does significant damage, this game is over. Like, this is an insane economy disparity between the two.
Yeah, but Striker, maybe you're realizing that. Obviously, his scout is getting lots and lots of information. That's why we see the blacksmith would love to see instant siege engineering and lots of villagers on wood already. Wouldn't be surprised if 2. Wow, I am surprised though.
Would not be or would be
attack upgrade. We see the upgrade to see more attack for those archers. I think earlier rams would benefit you more in this situation than more damage output on your archers.
Yeah, what's he going to use that attack upgrade for, right? Like, he's probably expecting to meet horsemen in the field, but it's not going to help him to kill Wall or Barbican of the Sun or anything like that, which, as you said, Ram would do.
Certainly an upgrade that he could still do afterwards, but it's still a full minute delay. Barbican actually not scouted yet, so first time he runs in it. Wanted to build a tower there, and now thinks better of it. The problem though, that tower, even if it goes up, not easy to get actually vision on that wood line.
Yeah, he's got that tower there. I expected that a lot earlier, potentially, maybe with arrow slits, but he decided not to go with that route. Now we've got the wooden wall. No vision yet, like you mentioned. And he can start to do those Lucifron-style tree cutting to try and get past that wheel. There have already been so many economic advantages here for Lenok. We look at the villager count. He's at 37 against 32. He's got wheelbarrow upgrade, the broad axes. He now has farms. Saving up Chuganu and Horseman, he seems to be in an excellent position. He even has a blacksmith with 1 ranged attack and 1 ranged armor. And he's able to exploit villages because he's in Song Dynasty.
Wow, so many things going for Lenok right now, and it feels like Striker needs to make something happen. Look at that. Trademark Lenok again. He knows the push is coming.
Yeah.
He knows he has mobility and goes for intercepting reinforcements again. Maybe even tries to go for raid. Hides in the stealth forest for now.
Yeah, and they're not spotted yet. There was a very close pass by of units, but he is not aware. Now we hear the charges. The horsemen taking down spears, taking down their counter like a pack of hyena hunting lion cubs. He's like, you guys are going to be a problem later, but right now we can still take you down. The horsemen kill that spearman, have now created a wedge between Striker's army and his reinforcements, just like that Abbasid Dynasty game in game number 1.
Funny move by Striker. He's actually building a forward lumber camp, trying to chop through this area.
Oh yeah, the 10-year plan.
Gets the vision. Wow!
10-year
The
plan.
creativity.
How long is this going to take him? He's got 1 tree down.
Don't you only need to hit like
Twice?
I think you only need to put it down to 149 wood, and then you can walk over it, right?
Is that how it works?
I thought so.
Oh.
I might be wrong.
Yeah, I've tried to
Might be
do
wrong.
like a straight cut through before, and it didn't work. So maybe that's why.
Okay.
So you just need to chop it once. But he's just getting wood. No, he's just like, nah. I'm gonna make sure you don't have enough wood 37 minutes hence. So I'm gonna gather some of your wood.
Next technology should be forestry.
Yeah.
To cut down those trees a bit earlier. And Ram's trying to find something. And look at that. Still scary force for Lenok. What do we have on the field? We are looking at 20 Junganu and 18 horsemen. On the
Yeah.
other side, 20 longbowmen, 14 spearmen. Feels like a reasonably even fight, I feel.
Well, horsemen have 3 armor. They do get smashed by spears, but longbows won't threaten them that much. 4 damage a pop. They have 125 health. Quick math teaches us that that's going to take 32 longbow shots. He's got 18 longbows, so it's a double hit per horseman. There's 18 horsemen, so he needs a lot of shots to take down that many horsemen.
Junganu often considered to be kind of a unit like an archer, but actually, since they fire so many more projectiles, they're way better against units that have very high armor or siege units, because they simply do 3 damage each time.
Yeah, exactly. An archer's attack speed is 1.5, a Choganu's 1.25, so that makes them, about 20% faster, and then they attack 3 times instead of 1. So if you multiply that 300% times 1.2, they're actually 3.6 times better against rams than archers, and you can see that they are dealing significant damage on the rams. Rams nearly took down the Barbican, but that's exactly the moment that Lenok chooses to move out. And hear those repeater crossbows going absolute ham, smashing those spears. Horsemen go in to close the distance as well and try to get some up close and personal shots on those longbows. The Chuganu are firing away. This looks like an excellent fight for Lenok.
Oh, spearman numbers simply not there. Look at that. Horsemen are getting closer to the longbowmen. Spearman count now at 6, I would think, but so many going down. They are trailing behind longbowmen. Very exposed now.
Looks like the 2-1 is coming in for Lenok. The Rams are taken down by a couple of villagers, idle in the process during the chaos and mayhem of this very disappointing moment here for Striker. Lenok's noose is gathering around the metaphorical player's neck of this English player. We've got 53 economy against 42. The army is being smashed, 28 military against 10. Great defense by Lenok. A true mastery of the Chinese civilization here being put on display by him.
Wow, that was a crazy engagement in Striker now. has to go far back. Obviously, Town Center is still helping him with the defense, but as we said, Lenok already had the better setup for the long game. So winning the first fight significantly in his favor kind of gives him even more advantages, because now he can decide, do I want to sit back, have an advantage? Do I want to take some aggression and even increase my advantage because he finds villager kills?
Exactly. You said it. And, you know, there's full level 1 economy upgrades for Lenok. He has horticulture and everything. Not a single economy upgrade here for Striker. Fewer villagers also. And Striker's first attack came at 12 plus minute as the English. That's all you need to know about this game. And this is also why Neely doesn't believe in tier lists, because it's it's player skill.
This game is the only reason
This is the only. You based your opinion about tier lists on this game.
Okay, let's take a look. Horseman count not that scary anymore. Therefore, Longbowman will take better fights. And yeah, you sell 12 minutes, but then people tuning in late would probably think, yeah, 12 minutes, but then he certainly got wheelbarrow, right?
No, he just got one ranged attack, one ranged armor, siege engineering, made 2 rams, idled them for more than a minute, didn't kill the wall, attacked the most defensible spot, the Barbican, and then got surrounded and killed away from an outpost. Not the proudest showing here for Striker. He tried to use the classical English on Altai, and this shows that doing your research, preparing a counter, becoming really good at a Civ, and using it against the expected, predictable thing can reap major rewards, perhaps even in the form of a qualification to N4C in about 2 weeks from now. Lenok knew. Think of the power of that. He knew he's going to face English on Altai. Everybody play English on Altai. How many English mirrors did you have yesterday on Altai? So that's a really comfortable position to practice and prepare from. It's kind of like the first 2 weeks of this game when everyone was playing French everywhere and on Tri-Arabia. And it's like, well, French are really good, but at least I know what to practice. And then you saw that lower win rate for French despite them being the best, because everybody knew what to practice. And where does Striker get his practice? He's gonna play how many hundreds of English mirrors on ladder? Has he ever played Lenok on Altai? Which Chinese player would he be practicing with in order to be ready for Lenok? Nobody, because Lenok does it best.
Yeah, and certainly no one as well in the last 1.5 weeks, right?
Right.
After the last patch, people on the top level, everyone who wanted to practice seriously, completely avoided Chinese.
Yeah, terrible Civ, useless.
Number 8 on my tier list. But apparently good enough here to still go for some aggression. Second town center now as well for Lenok, went for some palace guard and is now going in for the aggression. Striker still in quite some trouble. Defensive tower going up most likely, but only after heavy losses. No, even backs off.
Oh, 978 health out of 1,000. The outpost not finished. Network of Castles buff is active, of course, but the participation of Striker in this map is not. GG. Lenok takes the lead with a 2-1.
Nice one for him. And yeah, we love to see some love for China. And then even such a defensive, nice, well thought out strategy against English.